We have an advantage because of injuries and cards, so I don't want to let pride get in the way. I think the score is going to be 2-1, Tottenham taking the victory. You know what? It might be 3-1 because he's a good scorer, so it might be 3-1.
So you think Solanke is going to show up at the derby?
Yeah, maybe he gets his first hat trick. Don't let your pride get in the way. I didn't.
I think I'm a special one.
I swear you'll never see anything like this ever again. Incredible stuff. There's your fairy tale.
Here we go.
All right. Welcome to Rivals on the Pitch podcast. Super excited for our new intro. I think that should be the permanent for the rest of the season. What do you guys think?
No comment.
Did you guys like it?
I liked it.
Not at all.
Just wait till it's on the other foot, right?
Keep playing it because it's gonna become relevant one day, and add this to it.
Oh man! Thank you everyone for joining us. We have a super fun episode today. Obviously, we're coming back for that crazy weekend, North London derby. We had lots to discuss. I'm sure Randy will have his say on Liverpool's first loss. We're going to lightly touch on some European competitions. Then we'll go into next week's games and the prediction mini league.
And that's an episode. Thank you for joining us today, guys. Hope you tune in. We'll be back next week.
Not getting away from this one.
Wait, don't worry. When it's Pat's turn, we're gonna go after him. All right, we got to take it on the chin.
Ugh.
That's right. My time will come, but for now, I'm gonna enjoy this every minute. And I think we have an extended episode today. It's 2 hours, right?
No, it's actually a shortened version. It's Roberts on the Pitch Express episode. Nothing exciting happened.
So I have bragging rights. Obviously, between us rivals, we get the win over one of our lovely friends here. Then we can basically make decisions, call bragging rights, and end disputes. Pull out the bragging rights card. So you know what? I'm gonna take my priority here and hand it over to Alan to give us his take on the game.
Lord, I was hoping you would go first because I had a lot of rebuttals. Because what I'm gonna say probably isn't gonna be well liked by a lot of Arsenal fans. But yeah, let's just go in. So obviously we we took the L last weekend. Not the results I wanted, not the results I expected. It's caused a little bit of turmoil within the Spurs community. And, criticism is right. We have the right as fans to be critical of criticize the team and the management and the coach and the organization, right? But it's just there's to a point where it gets too out of hand. And I think based off the performance we had and, leading up to the game, Arsenal, they had two injuries or an injury and a few injuries, red cards, it was a weaker side Arsenal. And if we were where we thought we were, we should have taken this home. We should have. I didn't see us running away with it, obviously, but we expect to win these types of games if we're trying to compete at the level that we're supposed to be at, right? That being said, I think the game was a lot closer than, obviously the score is 1-0, right? So it was a pretty close game against, before anybody says, it's a weaker side Arsenal. It was a weaker side Arsenal, but it was a lot closer game. It was just one set piece that set us apart, really. Arsenal didn't really have all that many opportunities. But then again, we didn't capitalize anything. I don't want to say it was a boring match, but there was something about it. It didn't feel much like a North London derby.
Choppy, right?
Right. And I think the referee had a little bit to do with it. I think we're both getting cards. We got a little bit more cards than Arsenal, but I felt like the rhythm was being disrupted a lot. I feel like it never really got into a flow. The jerseys, it was... At first, I didn't notice it until the broadcaster mentioned it, and I was like, "Oh, that's right. They're not wearing. It's not the typical home uniforms." It just wasn't what I was expecting us to put out as a product against anybody. Not just against Arsenal. I did notice that Arsenal's shape did change. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I felt like they were more on a defensive shape. I don't know.
Yep.
I don't even know what to. I don't know. Luckily, or as soon as this game was over, I just went into doing home chores and errands, and I painted my bathroom. I put up some curtains. I just anything to get my mind off this game. But
What'd you paint the bathroom? Red and white.
blood. But it's like I said, there was no opportunities. We weren't creating as much as I thought we were going to. Our wingers weren't there. Johnson, and he gets a lot of criticism, especially after late as of lately. But he was putting some through balls and some crosses that just weren't reaching anybody. There's like nobody there. Solanke was just I feel like he off the ball he had a good presence in this game. Off the ball he was doing good. There was one time he had the ball and all he had to do was turn and shoot, but he hesitated. We're taking too many dribbles in the box. We're not turning and shooting. It's just frustrating. I think we're better than this. This is a hit that these are problems that I thought the international break could have helped. Obviously, the players are off playing their own respective teams, but you thought that the reset will kind of bring everybody back together, and it's a hard loss. We have a few games coming up that are need to win, because if we don't, then this is going to start spiraling down pretty bad, and maybe it just goes to show that last season might have been somewhat of, I don't want to say a fluke, but beginner's luck almost, and then we truly are in a reset. I'm not here to say edge out. We still have to give him time. I mean, a lot of managers have gotten time. I think it's only right. Even Arteta, how long did it take him to get, the ball rolling and get all the players he wants in the system? I'm sure he was way well equipped for this. I'm sure he has players under his management that he says, hey, tells them their assignment. They know exactly what he means, exactly what he wants from them, and they execute. I don't think we've yet to get to that point, even though these are some of the same players we had last season. But I don't know. It's hard to talk about because I get very passionate. It burns my chest,
You should get that checked out.
No, it keeps me alive, and I had to go look for my phone after the game because I don't know where I threw it. But
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely an odd game. I don't want to say that I predicted it would look like this. However, I didn't expect it to be. I definitely didn't expect it to be uh, either Tottenham doing what they've been doing at least the last season, or what Arsenal typically do at home or away. For Tottenham, I think the nicest thing I could say is that, I mean, and not necessarily nice. I'm just saying, they're not a terrible team, but I think they're just clearly out of form. Obviously, something's going on that things aren't clicking. I don't know if maybe, like you said, Ange does have a lot of the players that he had last season, but he did sprinkle in a few new incomers. But there is not much change to that. I think they're just out of form. It might take a little bit of time to kick off again. At the same time, the season that Arteta really kind of shined through, where his tactics really shined through, was that 22-23 season where we surprisingly made a title challenge. And I almost felt like a lot of teams weren't expecting us to be the team that we were that season, and that's why we ended up getting these big wins and a lot of consistency. It was almost like a shock factor, right? Because with the years prior, like you said, with Arteta, didn't start off great to consecutive eighth place finishes with him and both him and Unai Emery. It does take time. I agree. I don't think last year's Spurs was a fluke. At the end of the day, you did finish fifth, which it wasn't as good as you started. So it was. I think you got a little bit of both. You started off well, and then you had a little bit of rocky road somewhere in there, which brought you down a couple notches. But I think maybe you're starting it off with it this season, and if there isn't enough change, teams can kind of they know what to expect. They know how to play against it, and I think that's what Arsenal did this game to the best of their ability, considering we had a couple big absences. And I think you could tell. I think I even mentioned this to you. Without Martin Odegaard at the top, we weren't able to hold on to the ball a lot. And obviously, Tottenham is a high pressing team, ball possession, and they weren't necessarily able to do that. And I know they did a few different things. I know they tried Kulusevski down the middle, which I think he was one of their brighter spots
yeah,
during this game.
when it comes to games like this, when it comes to tough situations, you'll notice that he'll be the one to kind of break through, and
Yeah.
I'm glad he's on our side.
Yeah, and I think he did great during the middle. I think James Madison. I feel like he got a lot of negative criticism for his performance, but I think the Tottenham tried to go down the middle with Kulusevski and Madison, and it was just too tough when we had Jorginho and Party, two defensive midfielders. Top class midfielders in my opinion. Obviously, Party is one of the best ones in the league, and the Jorginho, Champions League winner, Premier League winner. I think it was difficult to break that down. And then on the wings, I think they had a little bit more success down the right wing where Ben White was on the left wing. Yuri and Timber. I think if it wasn't for Gabriel's goal, I think Yuri and Timber would have been man of the match for me. He was all over the place, attacking, defending, lots of pace, lots of enough aggressiveness. He looked like he was playing a derby. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think just Tottenham didn't have a lot of success doing what they wanted to do, and it kind of resorted down to Madison and Kulusevski banging some balls as crosses into the center, and then you have Magalhaes and Saliba who were just beasts aerially. I think that's something that Arteta's kind of trying to make like a correct characteristic of Arsenal, just having these tall players. Obviously, we have a lot of good set piece opportunities, and at the end of the day, it only takes one. I think this up until the goal, I could have seen this game ending at a 0-0. But when you see games like that, you kind of know it's going to take one lapse of concentration, one mistake,
One push.
and that could make the difference. One little thing. Hey, so you got to be alert, and there was a lot more pushing going on in that box, and
Oh yeah.
but you know what I mean. It's one of those games where it was going to take one mistake from either team, or end in a 0-0, and that's unfortunately for Tottenham that's what it took. Romero lost his marker, free header for Gabby, and I don't think I saw enough in Tottenham that once we scored the goal, I didn't think that they were going to come back.
Arsenal's game plan changed because I don't think I saw it. They played more of a counterattack, and they weren't really doing that. I think they were just letting us hold possession.
Yeah, yeah.
I've said from the beginning, I think there's certain signings that we should have made. I had put the Spurs on the honorable mentions, and more towards the end, they barely made it. The only reason being is, we signed a lot of future, potential. A lot of 18-year-olds. We made one signing, Solanke. Him and Odegaard are the only ones that are really starting from the guys we signed, and I think we should have done more to win now. But it seems like we're setting ourselves up for later, which we'll see when the season ends. We'll get a better,
But like you said, you're setting yourself up for later, but that is later if Ange is still in charge.
Exactly.
That's
I think he'll get the year, but it's how much growth from now to then.
I'm hoping that this does mean that they're trusting him, and they're seeing a bigger project ahead. A little bit hard to sometimes support what he does. One, because I'm an Arsenal fan, so I don't sometimes when he comes out with these kind of outrageous reactionary phrases that he comes out with, it's hard to be on his side when he seems a little.
Oh, you want to talk about
stubborn.
reactionary? Oh, come on!
No, I'm
He's
just
the
thinking he's
king
a
of
little bit
reaction over
stubborn.
there. Oh god!
Mr. Arteta over here.
Like when he says oh, I always win things, I lose any interest in seeing him win anything. But what I was gonna say is I hope that they see enough in him, because I think he did do well for Tottenham last year, and it's nice to at least have some decent competition when it comes to these games. I mean, unfortunately, when I watched that Liverpool Manchester United game, I was left wanting more. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes down to Manchester United, Manchester City games, you know what to expect. At least with the FA Cup final, they have a little bit more to say. I want to have an exciting game. I want to have an even game. Just like you said, you kind of wish that Arsenal didn't have any injuries.
You want a nail biter. You want one of those games.
Yeah, exactly.
Still want to win, but you know,
right? But it just makes that victory a little bit more.
You want
sweeter.
that 7-goal thriller. It's still early though.
I will address one thing with the Ange thing, and I think it rubs a lot of people the wrong way when he talks like that. But I don't think it's so much like an arrogance on like this is Spurs and this is what. It's more. I think it's when he came on. A lot of people, I feel like they took him as a novelty character, like it's an Australian guy, in the Premier League, and you're not really serious. You're just a character, and I think a lot of those questions that they were asking of him, it just felt really like you wouldn't hear anybody asking Klopp or Arteta or Pep all these dumb questions. Maybe Pep because he likes to entertain those things. And
He's too cool headed, Pep. He's too cool headed. But
yeah,
sometimes he gives out a quote. I remember when Arsenal had taken that lead on that 22-23 season. He's like, "Oh, who cares about the Premier League? We've won it so many times already. Nobody, it's like,
right.
come on,
And he
bro."
was just like, "Oh, the preseason just ended," and I'm like, "Bro, preseason just ended, but Holland has fucking 16 goals." Okay.
Yeah.
This is a tough one. I'm not gonna lie, it's a tough one because you waited all summer.
And this is what you get.
Exactly. And
That's it.
so then I was like, "Oh, let me go watch some NFL. Let me go watch the New York Giants," and then we still lose. It was just a bad day.
Don't even say. I saw those stats for that Giants game, but it was
I had to do a
horrendous.
welfare check on you.
know.
I was like, man, he's no text, no.
Nope.
But-
I couldn't. It's this is what social media becomes. It becomes very reactionary. I know I have to distance myself from it. I don't react to it. I don't talk to anybody. I've never done anything like that crazy. But just reading it just makes it worse for me. So I just
Yeah.
And that's what people were going on about, Ange out. And it's like, if you're screaming, Ange out after a season and a whole season and 4 games, come on, like you need to know a little bit better about how sports organizations work. And I don't know, it's just not always the right
Yeah.
answer, but
Calm down, Todd Boehly. Relax. But I will say this, because I do have bragging rights. I want my money back on Romero being on the combined 11, because that dude got dunked on.
No.
I mean, no, because we wanted to choose the best defender. One fell asleep while the other one scored the
it's-
game-winning goal at short front porch.
No, because it's not based
Nah,
on best starting
nah.
11 based on one game after the game. That's not how it
Well,
works.
Well, where's Arsenal sitting? How many goals have Tottenham conceded against Arsenal this season so far? If it's not about one game.
And I believe that Arsenal have like 3 straight wins over Spurs at home, I believe, as well.
No, because you know what? You even said it. Gabriel and Saliba have not been at their best. You said it.
And we're still one goal conceded in 4 games, yet to lose in comparison to Tottenham's 4 points out of 4 games.
So we'll put Van der Ven in there then. Romero has been playing. I don't know what it's the last few games. He's been out of place. He's been up further than the striker, and he's switching off, and that's where we're being caught a lot. And I think that needs to be addressed too. I think we get it, be aggressive, and that's what he was towards the end of the last season. He was scoring our goals. He was, being very forward, very aggressive. It's not working right now. You need to calm down and get back where you belong.
You gotta do the basics. But I will say I think he was one of the best. I think probably Tottenham's best player up until the goal. I think he was obviously defending really well. He was controlling the back line. But
All right, Randy, clip that. Randy, make sure you clip that because we're gonna make the next intro.
But you know what? But at the end of the day, Gabriel Magalhaes just edged them, man. And even after the goal, it gave him even more fire. Gabriel was on at the end of every cross, every clearance.
But when Romero scores, it's you can't be the best defender and the best scorer. Being a good scorer doesn't make you a good defender. So I don't want to hear that argument. You can't. Well, you do have bragging rights. So I can't say anything.
So yeah, man of the match, Gabriel Magalhaes. I'm sorry we did this to you, my boy. Next combined 11, I think you get the edge over. I'll end your misery there, and let's move on to the next miserable.
No, I was enjoying
Yeah,
this.
please,
I was
let's
enjoying
go.
it. Please.
Finally,
Come on, guys. It was good. Let's go back. Let's go
Alright.
back. We still have plenty of time.
Espiritu Santo.
And I will say I didn't, because this was too big opportunity to miss with that intro. If you guys enjoyed it, let us know in the comments what we can do more of that. Like I said, my day is coming. I consider doing Randy, but I think Randy's, we still have to play Randy, and that we will have our shot. In the meantime, you still get a little bit of misery in there. So
Yeah.
why don't you talk us through Liverpool's first and unexpected loss at home? I thought this was a fortress. What happened?
It's supposed to be a fortress. Nottingham Forest hasn't won in Anfield, I believe, in 50 years. What a great way to start it off. Slot might have underestimated them a bit by putting every person in the starting 11 just came back from the international break. Just thought the players were fit enough to play. Liverpool's starting 11 just came back from international play compared to Nottingham Forest, who I believe had one person or two that were in international. So of course they had their fresher legs. But then again, I just watching the game, I was getting frustrated because Nottingham they were playing well defensively. Moreno had Salah on lockdown. Salah just was like off, but I guess that was also due to international break and due to Moreno playing well. He just couldn't. We couldn't get that last pass. In the final third to get that goal, and then their defense was just playing well. Their goalkeeper was outstanding. We just couldn't capitalize on our chances. Thinking Liverpool at home at Anfield, it's like a guaranteed win. One thinks, and we gave it up to Nottingham, who I even said was going to get relegated, and they just they played well.
You think that's still the case?
I don't think. I think Nottingham might stay now. I think Nottingham showed if you can get a win in Anfield. I think if they just play like that, they can. You can win. You can stay up as long as you get points. Being a win or draws, as long as they don't lose, I don't see them losing that many games. Compared to like Everton, Wolves, and
I feel like I'm getting this like, oh well, if they beat Liverpool, they can beat anybody. I don't know, man. Did Liverpool play that great? I see 14 shots from Liverpool, only 5 on target.
yeah, I know that's what I'm saying. But they were playing great in the beginning, but then when I think they got frustrated because they were so defensively sound in the back. I think frustration got into it, maybe tired legs as well. We just couldn't break that defense down. They hit us with that counterattack. It was a great shot. I think Konate was also like a screen for Allison, so Allison didn't get to see the ball until very late, so which is why he didn't dive. And it was a perfect shot. Hit the crossbar in. That's what you're aiming for. It was a great shot.
Sometimes it just takes one lucky goal to get the win, right?
You're gonna go back to your
one
game.
lucky goal.
I mean, look, hats off. I knew this could happen. Just look at the last game. Man City against what was it? I forgot who it was against, but they scored a goal in like the first minute. Anything can happen, but I think it was just a bad day for home teams.
Arsenal was at home. Their second home.
Yeah, they're gonna rename it the Emirates too.
Yeah, the training ground.
But I mean, I don't know. It's just that segue into Champions League game. We just played differently, but that's for another discussion. But
What was the score on that? I actually didn't get to watch any of them.
3-1
Over
AC Milan. AC and Milan scored like in the first 3 minutes, and after that, we just
switched on.
yeah. I think that's a learning experience for Slot. Like I said, the Premier League is way more competitive than the Dutch league, which he came from. So you're going to see that any team can cause any team trouble. So I think it's a learning experience. We're still just, we're at 4th place still, 9 points. We're still in a good position. And I believe we should, wake up and, I mean, we have a hard schedule coming up as well, but I believe that's like a kick in the ass that you need. And hopefully it wakes up the players and we play well.
Yeah, this is when it's gonna get tough. Obviously, Martin Odegaard out with an injury during international break, and now we're going into the playing to three games a week. So obviously Spurs playing a little team, so not that big of a struggle for them. But
Okay.
Oh, Alan, you still here? I think Alan might have left. Oh, he's still here, I guess. Very quiet.
It's funny because I don't see when was the last time you won in Europe?
Who?
Arsenal.
Okay, good. I was gonna say you probably forgot when we beat you in the finals.
No, oh my god, I don't. That's another day. I got amnesia.
All right, so yeah, I mean, I don't think I think a 1-0 loss to Liverpool in all seriousness after having the start that they did, probably not that big of a deal in the grand scheme of things. New coach, but yeah, like you said, it's a different league. He's got to get used to it, but he does have a Premier League team, great players. So can't give him that much slack. I think from what the looks of it, they played all right. Good on Nottingham Forest.
Yeah, nothing in the forest.
I did watch the Manchester City Brentford game. I turned it on that first goal that went in. Did you guys get to watch this one?
Yeah, that was the one I was mentioning. Like any team can like you're seeing that any team can score. I think Ipswich scored on them too as well. First thing, it was a nice goal.
Yeah, it really was. I think they caused that like the chaos at the back, and I've seen a lot of teams do this. I know when Arsenal was chasing the league 'cause 2 years ago, the 22-23 season, Southampton when they were still in the Premier League, they did this to us. Scored in like the first 30 seconds. That I've noticed that a lot of like lower on the table teams they kind of do this where they'll go all out in like the first 10-15 minutes and hope that they'll get an early goal, and then they'll kind of try to control the game from that. Obviously, seen Ipswich do it. Brentford just did it. Southampton is very. They did it to Arsenal twice actually.
So they got the FIFA glitch. That's what they're doing.
Yeah, the kickoff glitch.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
they
said
did
the
the kickoff glitch
That's what they're doing. They found it in real
because
life.
the big teams, you know what I mean, like City, Arsenal, Liverpool, the Tottenham. We have our very perfected systems, but you almost kind of have to like build into it in like those for 10-15 minutes. That's where you got to kind of get to know your opponent before you take any risks. But they're willing to take these other teams. They're willing to take the risk on those first 15 minutes while the other team's getting adjusted. They'll just go all out and try to catch you off guard.
And then
Right.
park the bus.
Yeah, exactly. So you got to be careful with these. You have to have concentration
From the start.
from the start to the end.
Yeah, you can't warm up. You can't warm up in the game. You got to be like full throttle right then and then.
Yeah. Fortunately for Brentford, the lead didn't last very long.
Especially when you got Haaland.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Haaland another two goals with
Another
assists from Ederson. I saw a funny stat. I wanted
yeah.
to say a meme, but it's a
Uh.
factual stat that Ederson has now have more assists than Mr. Fidget Spinner.
Mr. 96 million pound
Yeah.
signing.
Yeah,
Anthony.
Mr. Anthony. We rag on Manchester United a lot. I feel like we should get a Man United fan on the podcast just to even things out. There's no one to defend them.
He'll join in.
Yeah, he's either gonna join us or he'll have something to say. But how can you back it? Did you guys see the Southampton Man United game?
I did. Yeah, I did. And you said Southampton was playing really, really well. They looked like they were going to score. They had a couple chances and they just couldn't put it away. Man United got one against the run of play. And then after that, it was like all downhill for Miss Southampton.
Yeah, I don't know. You still watch him play, and
They were being outplayed for almost the entire first half until that first goal went in.
even in the second half, I feel like because I think that second, not that they're being outplayed, but I think they're being very competitive with them in the second half. Feel like it wasn't until that last goal, but that last goal was at the very last minute. It was almost like a garbage time goal.
Yeah.
But
that's when Southampton was probably just throwing it all on the grill,
Yeah,
hoping
exactly.
to get
But
something
it's not
out of it.
supposed to be competitive against Southampton. You're supposed to demolish these teams. You're supposed to be the top team. But the fact that they're being competitive with Southampton is showing you, their level that Manchester United is at, And I think even Cristiano Ronaldo even mentioned it. He's like, we should be competing for titles, Champions Leagues. We shouldn't be training, getting our rhythm. You had plenty of time to gather your rhythm.
you must listen to episode 5.
I know.
That's probably where you got it from.
Right? Yeah, I think he was quoting Randy on that
Source
one.
us,
Oh, thank
please.
you. Please.
Did you guys see that Garnacho liked that post by Ronaldo,
Oh, yeah.
and then all of a sudden he wasn't in the starting lineup?
Well, look at me now.
They were getting outplayed, and I was like, oh man, if they lose this game, that's gonna be another big
Another big talking point. Yep.
yeah.
And we know that Eric Tehagen loves to talk.
Oh my god. See, that's why sometimes it's good to be cocky as a manager.
Know your limit.
Sometimes there's gotta be a line, because otherwise too much can be hurtful. But anyway, United is almost like it seems like they're in this cycle where they'll get a decent win, whether it was deserved or not. They'll get a little they'll puff their chest out and they go and they'll lose to a team that they shouldn't be losing to. Then they'll go out to have a decent game. Then they'll get a win and then they'll puff out their chest. And then they'll go next game and then they'll lose to a team they shouldn't be losing to. And it's just like a circle.
I love it how everyone thinks like, oh, yes, Manchester United is back on track. And then after that, dead stop. They go in reverse. This isn't the team that everyone thought of before. This team isn't back to the Manchester United glory days. It's going to be a while before they get there.
Yep. Anybody catch the Chelsea game? Cuckoo came on as a sub and gets the win. It almost looked like they were running out of time, Chelsea, and it was starting to get a little desperate. But at the end of the day, they pulled it through. Yeah, I don't. I'm expecting more from this Chelsea side than I am from the Manchester United side this season.
Yeah.
But speaking of Manchester United, Jordan Sancho showed up and was, I believe, the man of the match. He gave the assist. He played well, which was great.
Yeah,
That just shows you what type of player Manchester United had. But because of this whatever fallout between him and Eric Hagen, Jordan Sancho showing up, doing what he's supposed to do, assists and goals.
exactly. Good on him. I'm surprised he's getting playing time with all these players, but good for you. But that's even farther down the line for Michaela Mudryk, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Because all these wingers they have could play on either side.
You're paying that guy to sit on the bench. I mean, you're paying a lot of people to sit on the bench. Chelsea, send me a contract. I can sit on the bench.
Right?
Right. Here's my FIFA highlights.
Yeah.
But I think with this match too, Bournemouth, I mean, I think they're a team that's quietly moving up the ranks. I think they assembled a nice squad and they're being very coached very well by Areola. Last season, he had a very rough start and it looked like he was being, close to getting sacked, and then on a dime he just switched it up, and they've been doing pretty good since then, and even after losing a few of their players.
Yeah, they look like another side to be careful with.
This reminds me of sort of like Eddie Howe, the Newcastle coach. He can do so much with so little. This is what I'm seeing with Fulham, Bournemouth, Nottingham Forest, all these small teams. They're capable of staying up now, and teams that you
Yeah.
thought that were going to be, staying power like Wolves, Everton, are now the team. Now those are the teams that are in danger. Usually, it's those small teams that just come up that go back down. But it looks like these guys are going to stay up for a while.
Unlike this next team.
Oof, yeah. Everton, another 2-goal lead lost, and this time to Aston Villa. It was a shock. There was a little bit of a shock factor to this game with Everton being 2-0 up. First goal, 60-minute in, McNeil, and then the second one, a great goal by the way, outside of the box, and then Dominic Calvert-Lewin, 27 minutes in. And again, unfortunately with Everton, I think this makes a bigger headline than it probably should have been. From what I saw, Everton got some decent goals, but they just don't have the substance to keep that up for 90 minutes. And at the end of they just ran out of steam. At the end of the game, they just had nothing left in them. It just seems like that they drained themselves to get those 2 goals, and then they just can't keep up with Aston Villa, who's obviously a very powerful team this season. I feel like the comeback was almost, you could kind of see it in the stars. I mean, first goal, Ollie Watkins, 36 minutes in, and you just knew that this wasn't going to end up with Everton.
But I mean, congrats to Ali Watkins. He was quiet for most of the season,
Yeah.
and now to show up, who would have thought that third goal? No one saw that coming. Honestly,
Banger, right?
John
Banger,
Duran.
and that is Ali Watkins' sub right there. Those two going at it is great
Yeah.
competition for Aston
That's
Villa.
what you want.
That's
What you want.
That
That's
is
what you want on the
want.
bench. And you know that if you make that sub, that you're not dropping a beat, that you're staying in step, and you keep focusing moving forward. It's
Yeah.
not like sometimes you make a sub and you're like, oh man, I hope you could. I wonder who we're gonna get this time. Right now, John Duran coming off the bench he's almost like guaranteeing a goal at that point.
Yeah,
And you know what's
Jeez.
funny? John Durant, I think he had 2 goals coming into this game. Ollie Watkins scores 2. Obviously, gets pulled out for some rest. John Durant scores 1 right back again. It's like, it's just amazing what they have, man. I'm honestly jealous of this. It's not even a strike partnership, but you know what I mean.
yeah,
It's
Yeah.
like a 1-for-1 replacement.
Yep.
yeah. And that's going to help them now in Champions League where they're at. If these guys can keep playing like this is going to be a dangerous team against anyone.
Yeah, except Arsenal.
Except
Good
Spurs.
First, we're talking about the top 6, not the bottom half of the table.
Okay, you
Wow.
lost in the name Forest.
Well, what number? What position are you in on the table?
It's too early. It's too early to look at the table. You don't look at the table this early.
All right, so let's move into the fixtures for the upcoming games. This was a fun, at least for me. This was a fun set of games that we had this past weekend, but unfortunately for me, my joy will not continue. Uh, big game coming up for Arsenal this next weekend, and you guys can enjoy a little bit of a hate on Arsenal because I'm not feeling too confident. But are you guys ready to dive into the next games?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, let's
Okay.
go.
We were just talking about Bournemouth being such a good team. Liverpool at home again. Randy, what do we expect to see from Liverpool?
After the showing against Nottingham Forest at home, and then going to play in Italy against AC Milan and coming out to victory 3-1, I believe us to be going back on track to our winning ways. We shouldn't be repeating the same mistakes. Slot is well aware now to take every team as a threat, and I believe that we should come out guns blazing. Hopefully 2-0 Liverpool. Get that lost, erase that from our memory and start off fresh again. I believe a 2-0 win for Liverpool.
Yeah, it should be a fun one. Obviously, I see Liverpool coming out on top, but you never know.
Never know.
You
I
never
know.
know.
Like if what Randy was saying was right, that if Slot might have been playing, I don't know if he was playing any differently, but the players, playing those players off the international break a little
yeah.
too soon. Maybe they're a little winded, but they'll probably make a little comeback. Hope they don't, but maybe. Everybody's beating Liverpool at Anfield now, so
Oh man, the fortress is crumbling.
Well, everyone beats you guys at home, so that's nothing normal.
Don't worry about us.
But at 7:30 a.m., I can't believe I missed this one. West Ham versus Chelsea. This should be a fun one
That
too.
should be a good game.
Yeah,
What do you guys say? I'm kind of rooting for West Ham on this one.
I am
Me
too.
Yeah.
I think this is a good challenge for Chelsea. Kind of gauge themselves off of this game, but I think West Ham is gonna come out with the victory on this one.
Yeah, West Ham at home. So let's see what they can do. This is also, I think, going to be a good gauge for West Ham to see where they at. Obviously,
Yeah, that's
Chelsea
true.
top team, but not in the best of form. So I think it definitely get some points against them, and yeah, we could see where they end up. Leicester Everton. Is this a relegation battle game?
Hey, it's not a battle. It's we're going down together.
We're just seeing who's going down first and what
It's like
position.
it's the Spider-Man meme when they're just pointing at each other.
Yeah, I have a feeling Everton's going to beat Leicester, and then Everton's going to get a 3-point deduction.
I don't know. I think Leicester might come out with this. I think they're going to be tied 1-1, and
Yeah,
Jamie Vardy is going to come out of nowhere and score a.
yeah, I
bring it
agree.
home. This actually might be a good game, I think.
All right, so let's move on to the mighty Spurs.
Alan?
Oh, when the Spurs go marching in. I feel like I'm always saying this, but we're gonna get our act together and we're gonna bounce back. But I think we are gonna bounce back. I think it's gonna be a difficult game. I think Brentford's been surprisingly difficult team, but I think we'll do a 2-1. Well, I don't know. We're doing predictions right now, but I think we'll squeeze one out.
All right, so just for funsies, Crystal Palace, Manchester United. Which Manchester United are we expecting here? They're going away to Crystal Palace.
I think Crystal Palace, they're playing well right now. I believe Crystal Palace they're playing home. They should be able to beat Manchester United.
I think Crystal just.
But I mean, Eze, they're at least they're putting up a fight. They're scoring goals now. I believe they're playing much better now than what they did start of the season. And it's against Manchester United. I just don't see Manchester United getting a victory out of it. Maybe it can be a 1-1 draw, but I just think I see more chances of victory for Crystal Palace than for Man U.
Just because I'm a hater, I'm gonna jump on that ship with you. Yeah,
me too.
Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Let's go.
If any Manchester United fans listen to this, if you're brave enough, come on the podcast.
Please.
We'll give you an invite.
I think we have no Manchester United fans because we're just every day we're just tearing them apart.
Well, I gave you a proper invite. Come and defend your team. Let us know what are we right in our opinions?
Or come join us, destroy your team.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so let's move on to Sunday, September 22nd at 9 a.m. First game of Sunday, Brighton against Nottingham Forest. Brighton. I feel is going to take this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, easy at home to Nottingham Forest. I'm going to say they could grab a couple goals in this one. I feel like, but
They did
Brighton.
just. I think they went 0-0 against Ipswich. Yeah, I think they'll win this game. Last week was a fluke for all teams anyway. So
Yeah, it
let
was.
the fresh off international. Like this is week 1 now. So
And then 11:30 a.m. Depending on this game, we'll decide whether I have something to do with the next podcast. So I might have a dentist appointment that might be a little less painful. 11:30, Manchester City at home hosting Arsenal.
is there a combined 11 on this one? Huh?
It's gonna be all City
Huh?
and all City on the bench as well. In all honesty, sorry, it's hard to say. I think Saka is the only one that has a chance at getting in this. Maybe if Kevin De Bruyne wasn't in City, I say Odegaard gets in too. But Saka, I think over Savinho might be a good shout. Aside from that,
been a good signing.
he has been. I just
What
don't
the-
think he's.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
no,
know.
no, no.
It's also his first season, so
Right,
I
right.
can't.
Yeah, no, it's not. I'm not saying that he will take the spot, but
They grabbed the player. He does something similar to that what Doku does on the other side,
right.
and I think that's exactly what. And to get him for basically a internal transfer, I said on the transfer episode, it's just a masterclass by City.
Yeah. Gabriel Jesus over Holland.
Gabriel Jesus is even playing still?
Gabriel who?
Yeah.
him and Raheem Sterling came on. I was like, oh, they look like just a pair of old guys just coming kind of pitch.
How many people did you guys buy from Manchester City? What, Zinchenko, Sterling,
Zinchenko,
Jesus?
Well, Sterling came from.
he came from Chelsea.
yeah, but he was
Chelsea.
but he was from Manchester City. They didn't want him, but whatever.
Zinchenko, Gabriel Jesus,
Arteta
that's
too.
true, yeah. I think Arsenal still do have one of the best defense pairings in the league.
But you think they can stop Holland?
Well, I think they have already before the past season that Haaland wasn't able to even make a good enough appearance at the games. He ghosted, but that's obviously goals win games, and that's where I think we're gonna be lacking. But as far as combined 11, I think Saliba and Gabriel have a decent shout in there. Anywhere else on the pitch, it's hard to say. I think you mentioned it, Alan, the last time. Even if I knew that Arsenal would have a good chance of losing at Tottenham, it's hard to predict a loss. So I'm having trouble with this one. But what do you guys think? Like, give me your predictions without an outcome, and maybe I'll decide.
Man City right now is just steamrolling. Even though Ipswich and Brentford have gotten up on them early, they just come back and answer.
And they answer hard, man.
Yeah, it's well organized, well coached. It's going to be a good match. I think the number 1 team in the league versus the 4th best team in the league. It's going to be a good one.
But I
about
think
you,
this
Randy?
might be the first time that we might actually have someone vote that their team is going to lose. And you can still get points out of it too.
Yeah, what's
Think about
more
it.
important? Which
Yeah,
team
what-
more
what-
important
yeah,
for you?
what
I
is
know,
it?
you know,
Winning the mini league or the or you
I thought
supporting
about
your
this
team?
last night. I thought about this last night because if Arsenal lose, but I get points in the mini league, it's gonna hurt a little less.
Is
But if I root for my team and predict for us to win and we lose, I get nothing out of it.
a captain goes down with his ship.
Exactly.
That's very true. That's very true. And how clever of you to say, consider you're in last place. All right. So let's lock in. First of all, what do you guys think for highlight game? Is this a highlight game or no?
I think it would have to be a highlight game. I don't see any other
Okay.
game.
Yeah.
Yeah?
These are the ones that were battling it for it last season.
Right.
If they're doing it again this season, it's got to be the highlight game.
We're gonna have to count how many highlight games there is because we gotta keep it fair, right?
Yeah.
I'll go back and look and make sure that we can spread them out evenly. But all right, so let's count this as a highlight game. So I'm risking all of my 6 points if I get it right, or I'm risking all of them if I get it wrong. So I'm gonna go with a 0-0 draw for this game.
Wow.
Ain't gonna happen.
I think you picked that so you wouldn't. You're taking the
Yes.
safe option.
He is taking a safe shot.
No,
Come
no,
on.
I'll explain. I'll explain why.
Alright.
Considering we do have one of the best defenses in the league, I think second would be Manchester City. We have been able to cope with their attacks, especially the last game that we played at the Etihad. I think we were able to keep De Bruyne quiet. We were able to keep Haaland quiet. So I think we'll be able to do that if we're organized, calm, cool, collected. We're going away, so we'll be cautious. But without Odegaard, I just don't think we have a lot of chances at creating a promising attack on that City defense. They're gonna come at us, so we're gonna have to soak up a lot of that pressure. We're gonna have a lot of counter attack options, I think. But as you saw, Martinelli's not in his best of form. Saka can't do it alone, and Havertz isn't necessarily the most paciest person. So if we can get some corners, we have a chance. But I think this is most likely going to be a tactical game where neither team is going to want to lose. So I'm going to go with the 0-0.
Arsenal does not want to lose, and they're
What's-
gonna park the
yeah,
bus.
Arsenal's gonna be. I'm telling you, they're gonna.
They're gonna park the bus, and then Arteta's
Yep.
gonna be like, "Well, there was just one team that was trying to win the whole game, and
It's
that
the
was my
standards.
team. But your team was the one who was kicking the ball up the field." You know,
I just don't think we have a lot of options when we're missing the person who basically orchestrates our attack. And like we saw at Tottenham, we weren't able to do it there. We probably could have afforded to have it a little bit more, but without Odegaard, we just don't have someone who kind of spreads the ball around in that last third.
maybe you guys Arteta needs to give another inspirational speech, like the light bulb one, or something.
Yeah, maybe.
You know, he's got to inspire them.
I was gonna say, what do you think your starting 11 is gonna look like? Because that might determine a lot. Because
Well,
right,
Rice
when-
is back.
yeah. Because when you guys played us, you guys had a very compact. I think you guys played a 4-4-2 at one point. I don't know if it's defensively, but it got really compact.
We typically play a four, basically like a 4-3-3. Most of the time, we with the pivot, which is Thomas Partey, then Rice who plays that 8 role, and Odegaard the 10, and then the 3 attackers. For the Tottenham game, we basically played 2 pivots, which was Jorginho and Partey, because we didn't have much other options. And then Trossard was supposed to play that 10 role, Odegaard role, but he was really just like all over the place. He to me played more of like a Declan Rice role. I think you could see that we missed Odegaard more than we did Declan Rice, because we were good defensively, and Trossard did attempt to carry the ball up the field, but obviously, like I said, we just couldn't hold on to it. So for this game, I could see a very similar setup. Probably take out Trossard and put Rice back in there. So I could see it being Jorginho, Partey, and Rice, and then the top 3 probably Kai Havertz, Martinelli, and Saka.
What are you thinking about Champions League though? What do you think is going to be that? Because you're going to be against Atlanta in Italy, and of course, Man City's playing at home against Inter Milan. You're basically going to try to win both games, or just sacrifice one, like you said. Try to win Champions League and then try to go for a draw at least against Man City at home in the league. It's a lot of games this week.
We have one of the smallest squads in the league. Arteta went for quality over quantity. And I don't want to say that he's going to give up the Champions League game, but with the new format, I think a loss is a lot easier to deal with when you have 8 games, instead of 6. So I think we're going to see a lot of rotation for the away game to Atalanta. I think probably see Trossard, maybe a goalkeeper change. I think we're going to see a lot of rotation in the Atalanta game. Playing away, I think if we can get through with a draw, I think that we would be happy. Obviously, Arteta's I'm sure he's trying to instill into everybody that everybody's basically an important player in the squad, considering how small the squad is. But I think that's the game where we're going to see rotation. I think he's going to try to save everyone for this City game. I mean, I would. Would you?
Yeah, because I think winning that game will have a higher impact than
Yeah, I agree.
know,
Yeah.
I think that sets a tone, and builds confidence, and not only that, you're setting yourself up for later on when the title race gets tighter. You have that victory over them. So those 3 points.
It could be as early as it is. It could be a turning
Yeah.
point.
And I feel like,
Um,
Arsenal is, I think they would challenge more for the Premier League. Manchester City, like Pep said, well, we already won it so many times. I think they might be more focused on Champions League. So that might help. But I mean, of course, they're going to go
yeah,
on all fronts. But I feel like if they would have to choose, it'd probably be Champions League over Premier League.
yeah. I guess we'll see how the teams will. It'll be interesting to see how all the teams adjust to the new style because you do have more games. But who knows? All the teams except Tottenham because they're not. They're not.
Yeah, we don't count Europa or Confederation, whatever.
That's what you were last year. Okay. We'll bring on Nottingham Forest.
No. All right, so should we lock in? So, Randy, you said what was your Liverpool Bournemouth?
2-0.
Okay, Alan for Spurs
2-1.
2-1.
Tottenham
Okay.
at home. Actually, 2-1. No, you know what?
Yeah.
Let's go 2-0. 2-0 Spurs.
Okay, so I'm gonna go for the Man City Arsenal game, highlight game, 0-0 draw. What are you guys gonna give me for this one?
Ooh.
All right.
Let me think.
Erling Haaland breaking
Records and hearts. I feel like
I
it
think
gets.
he's what? He's got 99 Premier goals.
Yeah.
Give him 101 because he's scoring a brace. Arsenal 0, Man City 2, Arsenal 0.
Okay, Randy.
I was thinking the same thing, 2-0. Or I feel like, you know what? Let me go a little. 3-0.
Wow. Okay, Mister Can't beat Nottingham. Okay.
Yeah. Whatever. We're choosing Arsenal to lose. If I still win, if Man City wins.
All right. So just go over last week's predictions. I'm leading the race with 7 points. Randy is right behind me with 4 points, and Alan with 2 points. So the predictions that we had made from the previous week is that Randy predicted a 3-0 win over Nottingham Forest, which obviously did not go his way, 0 points. He also predicted a 2-1 win of Tottenham over Arsenal. Also did not go his way, so 0 points for you, buddy. I predicted. I hear you laughing, Alan. My prediction was Arsenal would win 2-1 over Tottenham. I get 1 point for guessing the winner. Actually, 2 points because it's a highlight game, so double. And then Alan, you predicted a 2-1 win over Arsenal. Unfortunately, obviously, that didn't go his way. So as the table stands, I am still leading with 9 points. Randy with 4 points, and Alan with 2 points. Still,
Slow
is
start.
this gonna turn around after this weekend?
Yeah, slow start. Slow and steady. Turn it up, and
Yeah.
then we don't stop. We're hitting our bumps now, and we're going through our troubles and tribulations now. And after that, we're smooth sailing.
I'm looking forward to a little bit more of a challenge. You know what I mean?
You'll find it next week.
Obviously, I think this is where things could turn around depending on this Arsenal game this next weekend. But come on, boys, you could do it.
Yeah, do it for Alan and Randy. Lose.
All right, and that's an episode. Thank you for tuning in and listening to our recap of the unfortunate North London Derby. That was just a practice round. We'll catch us next time at the Emirates, but tune in next episode. We'll be covering match week 5. Unfortunately, Pat does hold on to the bragging rights card, but we'll be looking to take that away from him here shortly so he can stop talking. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Rivals on the Pitch. Keep up with the mini league and like and follow. Thank you. Good night.
Deuces.
Peace. All right, cool. Let me play the intro. Let me know what you guys think about the new intro.
I feel like something's up. Well, here we go.